All right. Now we should have picture and sound. Let's try this.
Yes.
Hello, everybody. And we have friends in the chat. This is great. Yeah, so
Yay.
tonight we have Margaret back. And as you can see, I didn't even start with the me screen. We got to get to all the Margaret all the time tonight. So we're just jumping straight in with all the
Nice.
good stuff. And I'm sorry, let me
Let's
make sure my phone
go.
is muted. What jerk didn't have her phone completely turned off? That definitely wasn't me. Sure wasn't me. Okay. Uh, so, Kate, work appropriate goth, Bridger, Shy Red Fox. So, like everybody, awesome, great.
Nice.
So, one super quick reminder today is June the 1st, at least in my time zone. And so, probably should look at your author snapshots. Just saying, no pressure, no judgment, just a little hint. There we go. And then yeah, now it's all about newsletters. So if you guys, I'm just gonna pump Margaret for information until we run out of time. But if you guys have questions, please throw them into the chat because otherwise I'm gonna monopolize because that's how that's gonna work. Ooh, Amy's got her snapshot done and she's getting to feel smug about it. That's completely legit to
Nice.
get smug about. Awesome. So, um, I I think I'm just gonna lead in with Laura getting to feel smug now that Amy's given me that opening. When we had our Patreon and coffee, I'm trying really hard to train myself to say coffee, um, and uh, and people the subscriber talk. And one of the things that came up was how important it was to have your own mailing list and be able to communicate to people directly and not through, a social media or
Mm.
something. And I was like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even prompt anybody to say that. Like that came up, it was unscripted. So there we go. So this is the good follow up with now that somebody who's not me has again affirmed how important a mailing list is, or some means of direct communication. Um,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about that. So, Margaret, I'm sure you have heard absolutely every excuse and whine and complaint in the book, but just in case, uh, she's like, "There's nothing you have heard. No, there is nothing
No,
you can
no,
surprise me with."
nothing whatsoever.
Um, by the way, I just need to throw out PJ Zufit in the chat says, "quote Margaret, you are my hero." End quote. So that is,
Oh,
yeah. So I
thank
think that's a pretty
you.
good start there. And she says she's going to have questions too. So great. But yeah, so
Awesome.
big thing I think a lot of us start with is what why do people want to hear from me? Like I make my imaginary friends fight each other for my amusement. What on earth am I going to do like to talk to people
Hmm.
not about my characters? So so hold my hand as we get started, please.
Yeah. Yeah. See, that's the thing, right? If we want to write books for others to read, we have to get comfortable with telling people about our said books, right? And I'm not going to lie, the icky feeling never totally goes away, but I think newsletters give you that practice. At least you don't have to say it out loud. It'll kind of help you practice actually writing it out and getting
Oh, that's
used
a
to
really
talking
good
to
point.
people, because you have to be able to market yourself, and part of marketing yourself is telling people about your book. So like you can't just put your book out and people will magically appear. Maybe like 12, 15 years ago, maybe, but now you really have to make that effort to not only stand out amongst the 20 gajillion books coming out, but you have to be comfortable, telling people about it and talking about it and telling people about your story. And one of the great things about email is that if somebody took the time to type in their precious email, because you know how we all are about emails, right? We don't just let any and everybody email us, right? So if they took the time to type in their email, you can feel pretty confident that they actually do want to hear from you, right? If they downloaded your freebie, you can be confident that they want to hear from you. And you can't get that same kind of confidence or that same kind of 100% guarantee with social media, right? A lot of times we follow people and we don't even remember why we followed them. Like they just get lost in the ether, or we just saw the one thing and we kind of forget. But email, we check our emails every day. There are stats there that say that people still do emails and people still check their inboxes. So you can be confident people want to hear from you. So if you ever get that nagging feeling and be like, you know what, these 10 20, 100, 300 people gave me their email address. So I'm pretty sure they want to hear about my stuff.
I am totally taking that thing that you said and using it on. No, it's not that I have to write an email to people. It's that I get to take my time to carefully craft my words and not pitch to their
Mm-hmm.
face. Like that is
Mm-hmm.
that is completely
Exactly.
reframing in a better way for me. So,
Exactly. And what makes it easier that I find too, because a lot of objections that people have with email newsletters is, well, I don't have anything published yet. Awesome. Because the pressure to sell has totally been taken off your plate. Now you just get to just talk about your characters, talk about your favorite things, talk about your hobbies, talk about the books you've read, and there's no pressure to sell a thing. So by the time your book does come out, if you're consistent with that newsletter, by the time it comes out, people are like, I have a bought it already. Well, already in my cart, already on my Goodreads list, because you build that relationship, right? So it actually makes the selling so much easier because you spent the time developing that relationship, as opposed to somebody who waits till the book comes out and then you're like, oh my God, now I have to sell to people. And people are like, I have no idea who you are. So it makes the pressure and it makes the overwhelm and the stress so much harder when you do have something to sell, right? So if you don't have a book published yet, that's awesome, because then you get to have fun, you get to relax, you get to be until your book is ready to come out. And that can take a year, 2 years. Before my first fantasy book came out, it took 2 years. And those 2 years, I was sending an email every month and I would talk about the book. I talked about the journey. I talked about books that were similar to mine that I made sure I read. So all of these things that you can include in your newsletter to establish that relationship so that by the time your book comes out, everybody's like, good, I'm on board, I'm sold,
and that's
or
another
let me
great
be on your street
reframing.
team, or yeah,
Yeah, it's like no, I
good.
don't have to. It's not that I have to sell them on me. No, it's like no, you don't have to sell them your book. Take it all, please.
Exactly.
All
Exactly.
right. PJ has a question, which is a really good question because
Sure.
I just did this last week, so I need you to tell me if I was right or not. PJ
Okay.
says, I have a blog and a newsletter, and they are connected as far as audience. So if I blog about something, is sending a newsletter considered too repetitive, or is there no such thing as too much promotion?
No, it's not repetitive because different people choose to read on different things, right? So if I don't purposely go to your blog every day and know in the back of my brain that has 20 million other things going on when your blog post comes out, 9 times out of 10 people aren't going to go directly to your blog to find it. So if you email me, and there are people that I follow all the time on Instagram, and they email me, oh, that's right, I saw their blog post on Instagram, forgot to go look it up because Instagram only gives you links in your bio, but they email me and it's like, oh cool, it's right here, I want to read this anyway. So no, it's not repetitive at all. In marketing, they say that it takes what we call 7 touches in order for someone to remember. So 7 touches means 7 different ways to promote the same thing, right? So you got blog, you got newsletter, you got Instagram, you might have stories, you might have YouTube, because our attention spans are like this big, right? So we have to sometimes be repetitive. It's repetitive to us, but we get inundated with so much information on a daily basis. It's not like we're only seeing stuff from you all day every day. We're getting all of this other information. So we might have seen it on Monday and said, yeah, I wanted to read it, but I forgot. Oh, but so and so emailed me though, so it's literally like right here, I can click the link and read it on my phone and we're good to go. So
I
no,
get a
it's
lot
not
of
repetitive at
authors
all.
who email me to tell me that the blog post is up, and they're like, this is what I'm talking about the blog, here's the link. And I'm like, you
Mm-hmm.
sneak, I see what you did to enhance the deliverability of your email by making me click a link in it. Like, oh,
Yes.
that was clever. So I'm totally doing that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. um yeah, and like that's a whole pile of worms on increasing your deliverability and all that kind of thing. And I don't think,
Yeah, yeah, that can get a little bit complicated. So
right. But short version,
yeah.
having a link in your email that people actually want to click on is a good thing. So, all right, cool.
It is.
Yeah, guys, feel free to throw in questions because otherwise, I'm just gonna keep her. Okay, just go. Okay. So, um, one of the things I struggle with, and I know it's not just me. I'm just the poster child for tonight. is I sit down and I'm like, oh, I have so many things going on in my life. Like, I'm so busy. I'm so distracted. I have 18, whatever. And then I sit down and I'm like, newsletter. Huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and it's the exact
Yeah.
same thing that, because to me, at least, it feels like when people are like, hey, welcome our new member, Laura, introduce yourself. And you're like, I have two
Yeah.
hands. Like,
I have
what
no
do you,
words.
how do you even, like, what is that? And so do you have, like, do you use a structure? Do you have, I try to write things down that I think are interesting, and then I have them when they come around.
Yeah.
Do you have like I have themes for the show, because otherwise I'd never have topics.
Hmm.
So I have themes for the show. Do you have a
Yes.
structure for a newsletter, or how do you do that?
I do. I do. And I really just have a structure for my content overall. And that's kind of like another big can of worms, but it kind of plays into it because I usually plan my marketing a month in advance. So I usually start with an overall theme. So for example, I'll think about in April, I release a secret library, right? So I know April, it is all about secret library. So IG is going to be about secret library. And my email newsletters, which I send out a couple of emails, but my email newsletter is also going to be secret library themed. But I already know that in March. So throughout March, I'm thinking of ideas and I have segmented topics, like repeated topics for each of my newsletters, kind of like sections, because who's trying to reinvent the wheel? You don't have to reinvent the wheel every time, right? So I already know what my sections look like. So if I come across something, I literally go on my Google Doc and I'm like, talk about this thing. Or I see a funny video, okay, put the link to that video in there. And Google Docs, because I can access it from any computer, my laptop, my desktop, my phone. So wherever I find it, I can just look it up and put it in there, right? So by the time it comes down to sitting down to write it, it basically has written itself, right? It's like my intro is usually something that's personal that I've already shared on IG because I already have the theme, right? So I just go to my IG caption, I'll copy it, paste it, tweak it a little bit, put it in there. Because again, not everybody follows me on Instagram, so
I just
any
felt
secret
20
library up.
pounds come off my shoulders when I'm like,
Yeah,
I can repurpose content.
listen,
It
listen,
shouldn't be that hard.
repurposing is life. Okay. So like if you want to have book reviews in your newsletter and you're like, you do Bookstagram, what was the last book you reviewed on Bookstagram? Copy that one, tweak it a little bit. I may go to the book and pull a quote or something from Amazon and link, and you're done. Like it doesn't have to be, you don't have to recreate the wheel. You don't have to reproduce brand new stuff every single time. I think the only thing in my newsletter that I reproduce from scratch is my writing updates and that's easy because I know what I'm doing, right? I know what's happening. And that's really it. Maybe the personal thing if something relevant comes up, but normally that's repurposed from Instagram. My book reviews are repurposed from Instagram. I have links to cool stuff that I found online. So those are kind of things I keep track of. So if it's like a video or a meme or a link to something or a friend's book comes out, I just go on my little Google Doc, make sure you talk about this thing and that thing and the other thing. So yeah, that's kind of like my system. I think the structure of having my email newsletter sections planned out ahead of time kind of lets me know when I sit down to write, okay, this goes in this section, this goes in this section, this goes in this section, and it takes me about an hour, hour and a half, and we're done. So that kind of helps me with the whole, what do I write about kind of thing, so.
I'm going to interrupt you just long enough to say, hey guys,
Mhm.
I'm really sorry I screwed up the stream. Margaret will be back in a minute. I just accidentally disappeared your face, but it'll come back. It's already back. It's just I think it's catching up.
Yeah,
And I was going to switch the video here so that I could bring up your newsletter that you just sent out, so we could talk about your
sure,
structure in it. But I
sure.
kind of scared myself when I let's see if I can. Okay, let me see if I can
There it
get
is.
Margaret up here um, without losing you again. Hold on. I'm really sorry. I did
That's
do this
okay.
before. I did do this before we went live, but that was without you in the Zoom, and apparently it's being finicky
That's
about that.
okay. We can totally talk. Just imagine
Uh,
me in Tony Stark's garage with all the Iron
all right,
Man things in the back, and we're good. We're good.
all that. Yeah, like I okay. Oh, whoa, there's a lot of Margaret.
Oh,
Okay.
hey, there's a lot of
Yeah.
me.
All
There
right,
we
we're just going to
go.
drop
All
you right
right.
here and you can point over at whatever you would like to. Okay. All right. Um, all right. And so, yeah, and PJ says, I just realized that if it's the 10th time I posted something, it might be the first time someone else is reading it, which is
Exactly.
exactly yeah, the point you were making. And then Bridger says that we had a Laraception, which was totally the case because I got a little excited and accidentally clicked the wrong thing. So, all right. All right. So, yeah, can you see the your newsletter that I have pulled up
Yeah.
here?
Yeah.
So it starts out
Yeah.
with like this really pretty header. So I'm just gonna be a little bit jealous of all the things. All right.
Listen, Canva is life. And in ConvertKit, once you do a template, I don't have to upload that header the header or the footer. I don't have to upload it every time. So
This is
ConvertKit is life when it comes to templates
so
like that.
pretty and on brand, and makes me think summary thoughts.
Branding is important.
Yeah.
Branding is totally important. So yeah, so that first section, I always start with something personal. I look at my email news list as kind of just one person that I'm talking to. So instead of getting that overwhelmed, like I have to be this authorly person that has all of these fans, it's like, no, we don't have to do all of that. It's as if I'm talking to a friend because I do consider the people on my list friends. Like we'll email back and forth. They will share things about, themselves. I will ask them to share things about themselves. It's a conversation. It's a relationship. It's not, I'm just handing you this newsletter with stuff. I want to engage them and kind of talk about the things that they might be talking about. So I just happened to take my first vacation after a whole year of COVID. And I'm pretty sure everybody can relate to like either going out for the first time, going somewhere, or getting ready to. So that's what I kind of opened up with. And the key with that is I don't just make it about myself. I'll start out with myself, but then at the end, I say, you know what? You need to go and take a break. And what's something that you've done that, makes you happy? Or if you can't travel, find something, go somewhere so that way you can recharge. So I always want to make sure that I'm giving something inspirational and positive to my email news subscriber in that first section. Now, that second section, totally off of IG. That was an IG post that I did about, the three different characters that happen to be in Secret Library. So I didn't say, the Secret Library characters in there, but I started off with those three things and asked them which one they are, invite them to email me back if they want to. And then at the very end, kind of like your commercials where you get to the end of the commercial and it tells you what the product is, and that's where you get, the click to buy from Amazon and the paperback and all that stuff. So that section is always dedicated to, oh, and then reviews too. I like to screenshot and show people. Now, this is the fun part. This is where the did you see this? No, I get to have fun and put in like, so you, Laura, with your memes, like this will totally be cute, right? So I put in little memes because, as I said in my header, I'm Marvel fan all day, every day, right? So 9 times out of 10, I'm going to talk about something Marvel related in this section, right? And people know that, so they kind of expect it, right? So, and I had like 3 people email me just to say LOL at this meme after getting newsletter. So that's all kinds of awesome, right?
Because it was a
Um,
great scene. Yes.
yeah, it was a great scene. And then the book review is one that I did. Again, it was straight off of Instagram. I just shortened it a little bit because I tend to be rambly on Instagram, but I just shortened it a little bit. And that's that section, right? Then my writing updates come next. Those kind of write themselves because I actually know what's going on. And then at the bottom, I participate in promo reviews, like newsletter swaps. So those kind of go in at the end of the newsletter. And then you have the footer there that's always there. It also links to my books and all that wonderful stuff. And that's it. But literally in my Google Doc, I have each of those sections kind of like laid out. So I'll just put in little notes or anything that happens. So then by the time I come to sit down and do my newsletter, I know what I'm talking about. I'm not.
So the key here is to not sit down and go, now what? But to be accumulating throughout the month. Anything that makes me giggle, I should write this down, kind of thing. Speaking of things that make
Yeah.
me
Yeah.
giggle, we have to check in with the chat for a minute because we have
Okay.
two chatters who are terrified of, you said I consider my subscribers my friends, and we have two chatters who are terrified of their subscribers, so we need to have a little talk about this.
Oh,
But
okay.
also, Grace is being bullied by her chickens, and there's like a whole thread about how many chickens and rapidly escalating chickens, and that's the new punk band name, and that's just
Oh my gosh, that's
delightfully out of
hilarious.
control over there. So, so we're gonna leave. We're gonna hope that Grace and her chickens get sorted. It looks like there's a group effort to help with that, so that's good. But for our chatters who are not as comfortable with their subscribers probably doing the same thing I do, which is, but they need to think that I'm an adult. What is like like do you write to a person that just happens then to go to many people? Do you think of speaking to a collective audience? What's a good, how do you do this?
I think of one person, and that one person should always be who your ideal reader is. I think if you try to think of a collective, or even worse, everybody, then that's too much pressure to kind of appease everyone, and I look at it as, by the time you read my header, you already know what I'm about, right? So if you are a DC fan and can't stand Marvel, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to read the rest of the newsletter. And that's cool, because my ideal reader loves Marvel. My ideal reader loves quick reads. She's someone that doesn't have enough time to read stuff. So that's why I make the sections easy to read. That's why my titles are color coded so she can quickly skim it and she can read it later. It's really important just with anything marketing in general. I say before you start doing anything, you really need to nail down who your ideal reader is. I'm talking about you. There's no level of specificity that you can get on this person. Like, you need to have a clear vision of who this person is. And this is who you are writing to. As you become more established and you start getting things like, Amazon reviews and people interacting with you on Instagram, then you get even a better idea of who this ideal reader is. So then you can go back and kind of tweak things. And, because I came into this and I'm like, well, I like Marvel. I don't know how many people will necessarily like Marvel the way I like Marvel, and then when people were like, this is kind of like Avengers, or this is kind of like, that one movie where Thor lost his hammer. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you get me, right? So then I can say, all right, so now I don't feel bad about Marvel references, or I don't feel bad about putting Tony Stark's garage as my background. I mean, that's just, it's me as all part of the brand. It's what I do, right? So I think really and truly knowing who your ideal reader is takes that fear away. And something that my writing coach taught me early on was that, you know, don't think of it as marketing, thinking it as geeking out with your favorite friends. And you just happen to geek out about the same stuff. Like, approach that with Instagram, approach that with, email newsletter. And that's what makes you kind of stand out. Because if you get to the whole, I have to be all Arthurly and it's like, almost like a company. There's no personality. There's no way to connect with anyone, right? So don't be scared of your new subscribers. I love my subscribers and they shock me all the time because I have people who are like in their 60s reading my books about pirates, and they'll email me and they'll tell me, this is the only way that I don't do Instagram. I do any of that stuff, but I look forward to they'll send me, my grandkids left and I'm going to read this on the plane to see my grandkids or something. And that's hilarious to me because I didn't envision that would be my ideal reader, but I can go back and tweak and say, you know what? Okay, I can include maybe older people who have more time to read. And the newsletters are even more important. I have to make sure the format is clean. I have to make sure it's readable. I have to make sure that, if it's on the phone, that it streamlines well. So all of these things kind of take into account of, who my subscribers are. So don't be scared of them. They give you so much valuable information that you can just take with you and market and all that.
Kate says she started with the internet baseline of cats because she loves cats, and she somehow ends up with the only people on the internet who don't like cats. Okay, those people aren't real, Kate. They're not real. Those are bots.
No.
Like, everybody loves on the internet loves cats. Like, I think, yeah, that's
There is this bookstagrammer. She's amazing, and she's reviewed some of my books, and then I had her as an ARC reader. And every picture she has her adorable cat next to my book, on top of my book. You know, the cat's in her lap while she's reading the book. I mean, it's just really taking the time to find out where this person hangs out. And I think you will definitely find your people. You know, you also have to be discerning about where you share your newsletter, right? You have to make sure that you are marketing it to the right people. And I think that's what kind of throws people off too, you know?
And I think I'm going to share a story about me because, well, it's my Twitch stream. So, but the the whole idea of, you know, I want to approach the newsletter as marketing, you know, and how skewed that makes our thinking. So last Thursday, I sent 2 newsletters last week because I'm trying to sort something out and like trying to poll my
Mm-hmm.
audience for information. So that was a thing that
Mm-hmm.
happened. But last Thursday, like I'm working on my computer and suddenly there's a bunch of cows in my on my property. I don't own cows, but I did suddenly on Thursday.
They just appeared.
Right. And so, you know, my dad and I collected these cows and we put them in my field and, you know, fenced them until people could, you know, when then we got like, oh my gosh, we got the owner of the cattle and we got police and we got animal control. The police closed the road and we did a cattle drive to get them home. Like it was a thing.
Oh my
And all
gosh.
of this, like, yeah, here's the thing. Like, that is completely the kind of thing that I would tell my friends. That is the kind of thing I did tell my friends. Like, we have photos of the cows, right? Of course.
Mm-hmm.
And it did not occur to me until today that, oh, I could maybe put that in a newsletter. Like, I don't know if it would have occurred to me if we had not been having this conversation, you know, tonight. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, why would I not take like I guarantee you nobody else is sending their email this week going, do you want to see pictures of baby calves that showed up in my yard for unpredictably? Like we
Just
get out and wrangle
randomly.
baby cows. Like that's a thing that I should take advantage of. But
Yeah.
because I'm so busy thinking marketing thoughts, like, you know, I don't just be like, hey, random cows, you know. So
Think about it, right? It's like a metaphor for your writing. Because how many times we're sitting here writing a manuscript and random characters just come out of nowhere that have
yeah,
no importance or planning, and they just show up in your story, and you're
take
like,
over the freaking book. Yeah. So
what the heck am I supposed to do with you now? So my writing life is like herding mysterious cows that just show up on your lawn. Like, I read that. I'm gonna say, like, what is she talking about? Like, how does that even work? You know, writers will get it, you know, and then readers can be like, did she put this in a story? Or they tell you, like, you so got to put this in a story somewhere, you know,
yeah.
like,
Yeah. And if nothing else, I've got
mm-hmm,
cute pictures of baby calves. And I'm sorry, Bridger, you're not
mm-hmm.
real. You know, Bridger's apparently a person on the internet who's not doing cat pictures. So, no, you're a bot, Bridger. You're not real. Okay. What? We have another question from PJ. I'm
Sure.
just going to read it verbatim. I struggle to have engagement with my audience. I have about a 12% open rate, but these people don't unsubscribe. I have finally gotten over the agony of rejection when people unsubscribe because then my click rates would go up. But do you have any tips to engage my audience so that they actually click it and read it? So awesome they won't ignore me.
Play with your subject lines. When open rates are an issue, play with your subject lines. I would say look at what you're putting in your subject lines now and think of something totally different, totally creative. Um, I know a lot of times authors will put, you know, so and so's monthly newsletter or something, you know, but let's say you write a story about dragons and it'd be like, you know, Unleash Dragons, writing updates, and oh, there's a book. What the heck is she talking about? Unleash Dragons? That would make me want to open it, right? So I would play with your subject lines. I say when open rates are an issue, just try a different subject line. You know, so the next 2 or 3 newsletters you send out, have a different type of subject line and see how that does, you know, with your open rates. But 9 times out of 10 is usually the subject line. And people don't not subscribe because they have to go and open it to unsubscribe it, right? So they're not even going to open it, you know. And I would say with unsubscribes, never take that personally. I feel that I'd rather have 100 engaged people that will buy anything that I put in an email than have 2,000 people who never open one. The sheer numbers doesn't matter. It's all about engagement. It's all about open rate. It's all about click rate. So I would
And
say try that.
just to underscore that, something I did, because I was very happy with the number of my newsletter subscribers, but my open rates weren't what they used to be. I had a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people sign up to get free stuff and then just never engaged again. And so I did a sunset
Mm-hmm.
email where I'm like, if you have not opened anything from me in the last year, you got an email that said, do you want to stay, engaged,
Mm-hmm.
or do I unsubscribe for you?
Mm-hmm.
And I did save some people with that email, but I cut 2,000 people off my list with that email. That hurt my soul a lot. But also, my open rates jumped like 20% or something. I don't remember what the exact
Mm-hmm.
figures were.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't make as much of an impression as cutting those 2,000 people did. So,
I did a major purge. I want to say I did something similar. And that I mean, I have a whole process because I'm such a marketing nerd. So I actually have, when you get my freebie, you have to go through a series of like 6 emails before you even get to my newsletter list. Because I want to make sure that when you get to that list, like you are my people, right? And give people also an opportunity to get to know me and to get to know my writing. So one is a welcome email. It tells 3 things about me. Tell me 3 things cool about you. Second email is thank you for downloading it. This is what's going to happen next. I'm going to send you a free excerpt from Macario Scepter. You're going to get one right after the other. You're going to get 3 of them. So then that happens. So once they stay and they haven't unsubscribed, then they get to my list. So I can be pretty sure that I have a good group of folks on my list. But I did do kind of like I went through ConvertKit has literally a list that says cold subscribers. They group people who haven't opened your emails for, you know, 4 or 5, different emails or whatever. And I said simply like, do you still want to hear from me? I'm like, I know your email inbox is full and I know it's so many crazy things. If email is too much, I'm always on Instagram. You can follow me there, the type of thing. And I'm thinking like all these people are going to drop off. And they were people like I got like 80, 90 people like stayed and were like, oh my God, no, it's just that, life got busy or, I got overwhelmed. But if I don't open up your monthly email, I just want to know when your books come out. Like, that kind of thing. Like, don't take me off, but I did cut like about a good couple of hundred people off. And yeah, that hurt some. But at the
it's
same
like sewing
time,
off fingers. Yeah. It just.
yeah. But at the same time, that these are your core people, right? These are the people that
Well,
want to
and
hear from you. And like you say, your open rates go up and your click rates go up and all that lovely stuff.
we mentioned deliverability earlier, and if I have more people, a higher percentage of people opening my email, then that makes sure my email actually gets to more of the people on my list and it's
Mm-hmm.
not ending up in
Mm-hmm.
FOMO or in spam and all of that. So it's one of those things that I did that cut to make sure other people could get that email. But
Yes.
oh man, like I almost took up drinking. Like just for that. Like, it was hard. Okay, we have a question from Grace, and it's a
Okay.
really good question. What do you think of that technique where you resend the same email, but with a different subject line, but only to subscribers who did not open the first one? She tried it once and was surprised at how well it worked, but is it spammy?
No, because the people didn't see the email before. Now I've done it. I only do it with emails that I feel are like quote unquote important. Monthly newsletters, not so much. If you didn't catch it the first go around, you get it the second go around, no big deal. But sometimes like some of my sales emails, or I'll have a segmented list of people that I call like superstar subscribers, like they open up everything, but for some reason they didn't open up anything. I might resend it and I'll just put a like in case you missed it. I just do the same subject line, but I'll put like, in case you missed it, this kind of thing. And then I'll see, a couple of more people, opening it up. So it's not a bad tactic. Marketing is all about testing. If you do it a couple times and it works, cool, run with it. If you do it a couple times and it's like, your open rates aren't that good, people are unsubscribing a little bit more, then don't. It's all about finding what works.
Yeah. Kate's pointing out, the six email onboarding is another reason not to assume your subscribers are like me because she says I'd never make it through a 6 email onboarding sequence. Yeah, but obviously people who really want Margaret's stuff are willing to do it, and then she's got a
You
really
have to make it
engaged list.
interesting. I think, and I tell you ahead of time. See, what I don't like is when they don't give you a heads up, right? It's like,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
I signed up for your newsletter and I got all of these things. I usually say, welcome newsletter, welcome email off the bat. And it has a picture of me and it's here's 3 things you should know about me. Tell me 3 things about you. And a lot of people email because they're like, oh, I never like, and you hear like so these cool things about people, right? So then 3 days later, it's the subject line is thank you. And it's thank you for downloading my freebie. I hope you enjoyed it. I would love to know what you think. Here's what happens next. I'm going to send you 3 free excerpts out of a book. Everybody wants 3 free excerpts out of a book, right? So the first each of those excerpts are from characters in the book. So it's different character every email, right? So it's not the same kind of redundant thing. The first one, like you saw in my email, is the treasure hunting nun. The second one is the pirate, and the third one is the chosen one. So then after that, it's another thank you for sticking around. Now you're going to get my monthly emails. So I let people know ahead of time what they're getting into. So that way, if you want an out, you can click the unsubscribe button and go. And then after that onboarding email, you don't hear from me again until another month. The only time you'll get multiple emails from me is when we get closer to a launch. And by that time, I'll tell you, hey, Secret Library is coming on in April. I'll tell you this in January. I'm ramping up and here's what I have going on. A, B, C, and D. I might reach out to you if you want to do the cover reveal. I might reach out to you if you want an arc. So it's letting your audience know what's going to happen instead of just springing all this crazy on them, right? Just kind of, be courteous and let people know like what
Yeah, I
to
think just
expect.
communicating is obviously key. Like, just I've definitely I've
Mhm.
signed up for. I'm interested in this free download. And I'm getting 3 emails a day for the first week. I'm like, stop, make it
Yeah,
stop.
it's too
Like,
much.
no, it was too much. And they were coming from different addresses. Clearly, they had shared my address around, so they were coming from different things,
Hmm.
but all connected to the same event or whatever. And I was like, yeah,
Yeah, I don't like that.
just don't,
I don't
just
like
don't.
that. Like I say, I expect it of my friends. So I'll tell my friends, hey, I'm planning this thing. So I might ask you for A, B, and C, and D. And I'll even say in an email that's not typical. It's like, hey, I'm interrupting your email real quick because I have something important to tell you. And usually those emails are quick, to the point, and then I'm out because I know people are busy. I know you got things to do, and I normally don't email y'all. So yeah, it's just
Right.
being transparent.
So, is there a sweet spot for the number of emails to send? Like, I think you're doing monthly. I know some people do weekly. I actually know people who do daily. Bless their hearts. There is
Yeah,
no way it could not
seriously.
happen. But
No.
weekly or monthly, or I'm kind of like semi quarterly. I don't even know what I like. Probably that's part of my problem. Like I should have a schedule. What do you recommend?
I think when you're first starting, you need to find a schedule that works for you. And I know this isn't the commonplace, you're probably expecting me to say it has to be X number, but everyone's schedules is different. And the problem that a lot of authors and writers have is we try to do all the things that we should do, but we don't have time to do said things. So what happens? You're all gung ho, you get on the ball, you're like, yeah, I'm gonna do these emails like once a week, every week. And then month 3 comes along and you are so burnt out and stressed, you drop the thing altogether, and then you don't do another email for like 6 months, as opposed to, okay, I only have time to do a monthly email, which is me. I only have enough time to do a monthly email. And if I need to send stuff more frequently, like for launches, I pre-schedule all of that. I take a day, I write them all out, I hit schedule, and then I go on about life, right? So look at your schedule.
God
What do
bless
you
schedule.
have
It's
time
the
to
best
do?
button.
Yeah. What do you have time to do? I know editors in particular that do quarterly, but her quarterly newsletter is chock full of stuff, right? So, yeah, I may only hear from her once a quarter, but man, she has good stuff in there that it'll probably take me all quarter to kind of get through, right? Or kind of, absorb in all the tips and everything that she gives, right? So, take a look at your schedule. I am a big fan of doing a time audit, like really getting serious about your day, from the time you wake up to how long it takes for you to deal with your rowdy kids, to how long it takes to you to commute to work, come home from work. Maybe you like to do yoga or exercise, put that in. Okay, you need an hour of Netflix. Cool, put that in, right? Do something that works for your schedule, because 9 times out of 10, if you do something that you have time for, you will stick with it. And it's all about consistency. Email marketing, Instagram, doesn't matter. It's all about being consistent. So whatever that looks like for you. There is no magic number. There is no, if you send a new email newsletter, every 2 weeks, and then you'll get a million subscribers. No, it's all about what works for you and then being consistent with it. I've been doing a newsletter once a month, every month for like 2 or 3 years now. And that works totally fine for me.
And you just are upfront with
Yeah.
people, like during launch months, there may be more than one newsletter. So they're not going to
Yeah.
freak out about
Yeah.
something being, oh, whoa, so much Margaret all in 1 month or something. So, okay.
Yeah, I'll say, hey, the this is launching, like with Secret Library. I think I did a cover reveal one. And then 2 weeks after that, it was to remind, because it was cover reveal and pre-orders. So I do one email at the top, and then when it gets closer, it's like, hey, just to remind you that the pre-orders are still open. You're going to get all of this swag. Here's the link, and I'm out. It's like super short email. It's not no big long production. It's super sweet and to the point, because that email has a goal. It's about to get more pre-orders and to remind folks that
Is
there's a pre-order
there
coming or ending.
is there a recommended length? Because I know sometimes you see those stuff floating around about 300 words is the perfect length, or 700 words is the perfect length. So, okay, no, just be you. Awesome. I like that better.
Exactly.
Then I don't have
Yes.
to. Awesome.
No, we don't. We put so much pressure on ourselves and all of these, like, it should be this, like it really all depends. I do marketing as a day job for a staffing firm, and some of our emails is just a pretty picture with it's a poster. Done. That's it. Sometimes it can be a whole white paper. It all depends on who we're talking to, um, what the subject matter is. It all depends. And sometimes it's different people that we're talking to. So only you know who your ideal reader is. If your ideal reader is someone who, like, let's say, like literary fiction, man, you can go on for pages, because literary fiction is, you can get all flowery and everything else because that's literary fiction. But for me, on the other hand, I write books that I want you to finish in a weekend. I want you to stay up late for at least 2 nights, and you can finish it in a weekend and then go on to the next book, right? So I'm not going to have these long, very drawn out emails, and being that it's once a month, it's a little longer. So that's why I have like about 5 sections, but that's it. It's short and sweet to the point, because my ideal reader does not have time. If your ideal reader has time, then sure, you can go 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 words if you want. So
Good.
no magic
Good.
numbers, no magic pills in marketing, none of that. None of
Good to
that.
know. That makes me that I like the less pressure version of this. This is great. Yeah.
Tell you, and trust me, I'm very type A, so the type A in me loves things to be perfect, and it has to be just so. But at the same time, it's like you have to be yourself, and readers will connect with somebody, who's a person. We think of brands that we connect to. It makes us feel like there's a person behind it. It's not, has to be all stuffy and professional and what have you. It's a person. So, and relax, have fun with it. And when you relax and have fun with it, it comes off to the reader who's reading it. It comes off in the language you use and the pictures you use, the subject lines, whatever it is, you know.
So I don't honestly remember if I've ever said this on the stream before, but one of the reasons that I wanted to do this kind of thing on Twitch as opposed to, pre-recording on YouTube is I actually have a degree in video production from, back in the dark ages of, CRTs and linear editing and all of that. Like, seriously, non-linear editing was the new cool thing on the horizon. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Look it up, kids. Anyway, where was I going with this? If I were to sit down and be like, I'm going to record a video on a tutorial video or something, I get so wrapped up in getting it right that it doesn't get like done and perfect have to be equivalent. By forcing myself to do something live, as you all know, like stuff happens in live video, and I have to
Yes, it
just roll with
does.
it. And that means that stuff actually gets done because it's going out every Tuesday, even if I have muted myself yet again. But it's I've chosen a format that makes it impossible for me to stress about perfection. And
Yes.
therefore I am more productive. So I think
Yeah.
there's like a whole life lesson right there in getting over myself. And yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm just getting to realize that, hey, sometimes I can just send the wrong email, and as long as I laugh about it with people, then we're good. So, yeah.
Man, I've had emails where I've sent out like an email to like 100 some odd people, and the link is all kinds of wrong. And then I'm getting all of these different emails about the link is wrong. And of course, you have a panic attack for about 5 seconds.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, the drunk elves behind my email sent out the wrong link. Here you go, done, right? No harm, no foul, right? Like the world is gonna fall apart. It's not gonna, if there's a typo or two in there, people are not gonna, unsubscribe in like droves, whatever. But you're a person. I mean, it happens,
Yeah.
so
And a lot, I'm going to go back to the unsubscribe thing. Like, people are going to unsubscribe, and I need to know that that's not, yes, it's about me, but it's not about me, right? Like, I actually got an email. I'm talking to my people, my
mm-hmm,
readers, about I'm gonna start doing some serial fiction just as an experiment. We've
mm-hmm,
talked here about Bella and things, and
mm-hmm.
I got an email back from somebody who said that another author she reads started doing serial fiction on the side, and she quit reading that author because. And I'm just like, I'm not taking away like the novels. I'm just also, here's another option. If you're going to quit over that,
Yeah,
then you weren't that committed to my
that's not
books.
your people.
and
No,
and
it's not
that's,
your
I
people.
just like, okay, like, I can't let that be about me, because I would freak out if I let that be about me. Like, oh no, what did I do?
Absolutely. And let me tell you, I have some of the coolest and most polite people ever. Quite a few unsubscribe emails. They will email me and tell me they apologize that they have to unsubscribe because they're just overwhelmed with so many different emails and newsletters. So then I tell them, thank you for signing up. I hope you enjoyed the freebie. If you're on Instagram and it's just easier for you to follow me on Instagram, I'm updating stuff on there all the time. And here's my Instagram handle. Done. You
Yeah.
know, so sometimes, like you said, it's not about you. Sometimes people are just inundated with emails, and people are
And
just, maybe they follow you on Instagram and don't want to follow you on the newsletter because they're getting what they need from Instagram, instead of the email newsletter. So there's 20 million different reasons, for unsubscribe. So it's gonna happen.
you're what you're saying about, communicating with them after, like, leave
Mm-hmm.
that door open. Like, they might want to come
Yeah.
back. Right? Like,
Yeah.
sometimes stuff is going on, and I need to clear my inbox so I can get my, brain together, and then I'm gonna want to
Mm-hmm.
resubscribe to things. So yeah. So Kate's,
Yeah.
the chat is appreciating your drunken elves. And Kate says, I let my shapeshifter format
I
this
can't
email.
I can't
Sorry. So
take I can't take credit for the drunken elves because I have a DM chat with some writer friends of mine, and whenever we do a typo, we're like, oh, it's that drunk elf again. Like that's just it's just like so
yeah.
yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
Well, I know that we have a hard stop tonight, so I'm going to pause for just a moment and
Yeah.
say, hey, chat, this is your final call for questions, because Margaret has important places to go and important things to do. And we're going to make sure that we get her out on time, because I'm not letting her to not come back. Not wanting her to not come. We're ending
Got
on a
it.
good
Got
note,
it.
so
Got
she'll
it.
resubscribe. That's what we're doing. So if you have
Yeah.
questions, please get them in at this point. So, also, this might be a good point while people are typing into the chat, to
Mm-hmm.
mention that there is a hint of something on the horizon that we could look forward to for
Yes.
newsletter hand holding and moral support? Do you want to tease us?
Yeah. So like we said at the top, like author newsletters is a thing that so many writers are struggling with, right? And so I sat down and I'm like, okay, well, maybe I can come up with, and I did come up with that freebie handout that we talked about in our last interview, right? The 5 stress-free topics you can put in your newsletter, right? Which is also on my website that you can grab. But I'm like, that's not enough. I said, well, maybe I can do just like a mini course, right? So while delving in, and like I said, I do marketing for a living. I've been working professionally in marketing for like 13 years. So like when GeoCities and blogs were a thing, I'm aging myself. So when
I had a
when that
GeoCities
was
site. Okay. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that far back. And just in my last company, I've been doing their content and email strategy for the last 6 or 7 years. And I was like, there's so much more to the newsletter, and there are so many pain points that can be addressed that this turned into like a 5 week email newsletter course just for fiction writers, because I feel like the stuff that's out there is geared towards more nonfiction, which is understandable, right? Nonfiction solves a problem, but we are in the entertainment business, and being that we feel entertainment is so subjective, and like you say, why would people want to hear from me? And I address all of those kind of mindset things. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to put together a course doing just that, and it kind of walks you through why author newsletters are important. Because like I said, we have a vague idea, like it's kind of better than social media, but there are really more reasons why it's important to coming up with that structure and having those ideas and pre-planning them ahead of time, to how to know if it's working. So when we had that question about my click rate is down, what do I do? You can play with subject lines. If my click rate is not looking right, what can I do? If I have too many unsubscribes, because that can be a thing. Unsubscribing is one thing, but if you have more people unsubscribing than subscribing, then what you can do with there. And it kind of walks you through all of those things. And yes, it's very hand holding and very like, I want to walk you through it and not be scared of your newsletters or be scared of the people subscribing. So yes, I'm working on this course to launch by the end of the summer. So it'll be a little insane because I'm doing that. And working on a book to be released in the fall. So, just send lots of coffee and chocolate over here and I'll feel all kinds of better.
I know I got
Um,
tired reading your writing updates. You're like, yeah, book 2 just came out, book 3's at the editor. I'm working on book 4, and I'm like, well, just pass the guilt, double helpings. Okay, thanks. Um,
Hence the
so
once a month newsletter, because that's all I
yeah.
got. That's it. That's it. That's all I have.
So Kate is
But
sending me
yeah,
coffee and chocolate in the chat. So thanks, Kate.
please,
Please, I'll just pass those right
please.
along. And Kate says,
Yes.
and this is totally not just Kate. Kate speaks for, all of for the community. My problem is just self-worth. No one wants to hear from me. I feel the same way about all my social accounts. And she suggests she needs to be slapped. I don't think that really is going to help the self-worth thing. So we're going to skip that part.
No.
But yeah, like that is exactly it, because it feels so much like me, look at me. And yeah, and
I
I know you said your course is going to address that, but can we have like
Yeah,
the
but
2 minute
I can
version
give you
now?
a nice I can give you a nice one liner that I kind of use even for myself, right? Because it doesn't matter how long you do this. We have the doubts and like who wants to have this thing for me. Come from it of an angle of how can I be of service? Like people have been wanting books about pirates. They can't find books about pirates. There's like a handful, but we need more. My book feeds that, is serving you what you are looking for, right? If in YA fantasy you hate that it's always just the same type of characters, my treasure hunting nun is here to serve and entertain you, right? So think of it as coming from a place of service. Think of it as coming of a place to serve your fellow writers. The more you write and learn and make falls and stumbles, you can help your fellow writers avoid that. The more stories you put out there, you can have that one story that will resonate with someone that you wouldn't even think that would resonate with them. you are of service to them. So if you look at it like that, then it takes the pressure off of it has to be about me. No, I'm being of service to readers and writers. I'm adding my perspective and my story to the collective, because we all know we can never have too many books. We can never have too many bookshelves. Kindle is a wonderful yet dangerous invention because we can load like 10,000 books on there and take them wherever we go. But you're being of service, and just think of it that way. So when you have a little doubt and whatever, I'm being of service to somebody, even if it's just one person. I look at it like that. If just one person enjoyed my story, my mission is done. Everything else is frosting on the cake to me. So I hope that helps with
And
the
that's huge,
self-doubt
because
and
that's exactly what you're saying. Like, when I'm working on nonfiction stuff, I can point to and be like, this is my day job. This is what I do with, this is the knowledge I can share. This is how I can literally save a life with this knowledge.
yes.
And I'm like, these are my imaginary friends. I have fun with them, and it is such a hard mental shift to be, and they can help you too, and so yeah, I'm gonna replay this. Somebody can clip it. We'll save it on the Twitch stream. I'm gonna replay it. We'll print it out. Type it to my
be of service.
monitor.
Somebody's having a hard day. Like with my editor, like when she's having a hard day, she's like, "Oh, I'll just go and edit your stuff because Mari and Lewis just make me laugh." Wonderful. My job is done. Like my job is done. So just look at it like that.
Yeah.
As being of service to others.
Okay, so people who are interested, on that course on the horizon, go hang out on Margaret's, newsletter and stream and socials and stuff, and we'll see when that rolls out. And PJ Zufit points out, yes, you have something important and worthy of sharing. Absolutely, and
we all do. We all do.
And yes. So okay, I would love to pontificate on that, just because that's a thing I feel very strongly about, and I would love to quiz Margaret some more. But unfortunately, we do have a hard stop. So
we do.
I'm sorry. What was
I said no, we do, but this was fun. I mean, this was
sorry,
always
I was
fun.
talking over you, and so okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so guys, we will let Margaret go this time. Next time, Gadget. And
next time you guys can have me longer. Trust me. This time this summer has just been so crazy, but I appreciate you guys having me. This is fun.
I'm thrilled you came back, and really appreciate this was great info. So we will save this, and then Shy Red Fox says thank you much, Margaret, with a little purple heart.
You're welcome.
And
you're welcome.
This has been really good info. So I thank you very much for coming and hanging out again. And so we're going to wrap there. I do not know if Elena's streaming tonight. I don't know. I'll go find that out. I mean, I think she is streaming, but I don't know what her topic is. Let me be specific about that. So we might go right Elena in a moment. But everybody, have a fantastic week. Go think of, start your Evernote list of things to put in your newsletter or whatever, and then we will see you next time. Oh, Elena says she is. We'll raise the Elena. Okay. All right. Thank you, Margaret, and
have
welcome. A fantastic evening. And
all right.
Let me. Okay. All right, everybody. Oh, that's a great thing. I don't know what's going on with the camera. That's fine. All right. This is fine. I'm going to hop us over to Elena. Everybody have a fantastic week. And I can't type and talk at the same time. I am such an adult. This is why I have to do things live, so I don't stress about them. Okay, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.